bringing to you. Every time we turn live, man, you know it's the truth. Every after show, moving down. This the time to move around. No Gimmicks podcast is going down. Every night, every time in the ring. This is the time for no gimmicks. No, we doing our thing. What's your state of mind? State of mind. Moving down a statement when we take the line. This is exactly wrestling the state design. When you see Stone Cold like me, with the stunner in the world, exactly, man, what we bring. Every night we move like Brock Lesnar. The F5, no gimmicks. We take you to your limit. What's the feeling? When we live in the air, you know we on. That's the time. Guarantee we move. You know how we respond. The state design. The state design when we feel it.
What is up? Welcome back to the No Gimmicks podcast here on the DFPN. I am Mr. Kelvin Cayley, and I'm joined by Frank D, the Chosen One. What's up, buddy?
Sir, it's cold outside.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? It's cold.
It's a fucking understatement.
Yeah, man. It's wild. But what's up with you, big dog?
Oh, man. Just getting back into the swing of things, man. It's good to be back. We are jumping right back into the Star Wars talk tonight. We got some news coming from that realm that we got to discuss. We had some resurgencies in the wrestling world that we got to talk about. We got a good show tonight, man.
Right. Well, we always have good shows here on the No Gimmicks podcast. We are the podcast that keeps it 100 at all times, and nobody out there can compare to what we do here on the No Gimmicks and the DFPN as a whole. All right. So what I'm saying is we have the Patreon. All right. $3 a month. You can check us out, and that gives you everything that's DFPN. That gives you the No Gimmicks podcast. That gives you the Patio with Kim, the United States Department of Nerds, the Queens of Nerdom. You know, we got so much stuff going on. Real food. We got the Smoke Pit. We got, Make It Make Sense that's coming. We got a bunch of stuff going down the pipeline here in 2024, and you can be a part of it by simply subscribing to the Patreon. $3. Check us out. And it's just $3, people. You can go to Starbucks and get a coffee, or you can get $3 and send it over here to No Gimmicks and DFPN, and we keep you entertained while you're at that long, day at work or whatever it is that you may be doing.
Hell yeah.
Maybe you're married, you don't want to hear the wife nagging in your ear, you can turn on No Gimmicks or something like that, you know what I mean? Or maybe you made a big purchase and you don't want to argue about it. You want to go to the garage, go to the man cave and listen to the Smoke Pit and the shenanigans that go on over there, or listen to the Queen's latest SmackDown. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Patreon.
Queen's been cooking, bro. They've been cooking.
Yeah, so basically patreon.com/thatfilmpodcast. $3. Check us out. You will not regret it.
At all. And while you're at it, go to the Bandcamp, thatfeeling.bandcamp.com. On the music side, get the entire Dat Feeling catalog. Same thing, $3 gets you the entire catalog. And there's a lot of dope music on there, man. So go check it out. But let's jump into this show tonight. Some news on the Star Wars front, man. Let's talk some Star Wars real quick.
Yeah.
So it's reported that the Grogu and Mandalorian are coming out with movies. What we haven't heard anything on is the Rey movie. What's going on there, man?
All right, so I want to be very, very cautious in talking about this because this is simply rumor and innuendo. It hasn't been confirmed yet. And I got to be careful what I'm saying because I got Yoda behind me and I don't want to get, he's got that lightsaber out. So I don't want to get hit with it. But I will, Yoda didn't like the movies either. But anyways, so I will say this. So it's basically being, rumored right now that the Rey movie has been pushed back indefinitely and delayed by Lucasfilm. And what they're saying, what's going on here is that there is big creative differences between Lucasfilm and the writers. And they've had several different writers walk away from this project over the past couple of years when this thing was announced. And what happened pretty much is that originally the Rey movie was supposed to go into production this year at Pinewood Studios. They had the studios reserved, and Pinewood Studios is where they filmed all the Star Wars movies.
Right.
and they had this studio, and basically Disney didn't want to, lose their reservation because they couldn't get that money back. And besides that, they get huge tax breaks by filming it at Pinewood. So the Mandalorian and Grogu was basically pushed into that slot, and the Ray movie may or may not happen now. And it all comes down to, my friend, they have no idea where to go with the story. Apparently, Disney and Lucasfilm did not like the two scripts, the two drafts that were presented, and right now they feel that the Ray character and as a whole is not strong enough to carry the Star Wars brand and basically bring it back to prominence. So they're going with basically Baby Yoda and the Mandalorian. And apparently, after that, we might be seeing the Dave Filoni movie coming up, which will be the Mandoverse movie. So there, and the thing about it too. So here's where it's going to get very, very interesting. So if they're going to produce the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, there's rumors that it could possibly be a big budgeted season of the Mandalorian that you will see on Disney Plus. It's moving to the big screen. Is pretty much what's going on. And a lot of people are like, well, if that's the case, then why am I going to go pay to see this when I don't have to pay to see it? I've already been conditioned that this show is on Disney Plus. So
that's a good point. That's a good point.
Where we're kind of at with this, I'm taking the wait and see kind of situation because Mandalorian season 3 couldn't finish it. Wasn't really feeling it because I felt that they went away from what made the Mandalorian so special. I mean, honestly, bro, how could you top the Mandalorian season 2 ending with anything they were going to do for season 3?
Yeah. So the season 3, I felt like the series as a whole lost its luster a little bit. I didn't mind season 3, honestly. For the story wise, it wasn't terrible, but it just wasn't up to par with what season 2 was. Season 1 and 2.
It's
it wasn't.
It's like, bro, it's like they had like other people, involved in this show. It's like it wasn't Favreau. It's like it might have been a little bit of Favreau, but it was like other people meddling in it because it just didn't feel like season 1 or season 2, and it just felt like we are creatively bankrupt here. So what do we do? And what they did is what we got. So that's kind of where we're at with the Ray movie, and it's the controversial director that they have for this film. I'm gonna tell you right now, unless they change the director of this movie, the saying is, I mean, it's already dead in the water as it is. It's on life support because now even Disney doesn't have any. Disney doesn't even have faith in this situation. And just, I'm gonna tell you right now.
That's a good point.
So let me tell you this real quick. So, I was watching. I watch a lot of reaction videos on YouTube, and I saw this video last night with two people. The guy is kind of maybe a casual Star Wars fan. The girlfriend basically kind of just got into it through watching the original trilogy and the prequels.
Right.
And they watched The Force Awakens. And the girl made it very clear that it was okay. It just wasn't up to par with the other ones. And she called Kylo Ren probably one of the worst characters that she's ever seen in Star Wars. And he was basically Vader, like a low-rent Vader. Nothing intimidating about Adam Driver, nothing intimidating about Kylo Ren. She didn't do it. She enjoyed seeing the legacy characters. She enjoyed seeing Chewbacca and Han Solo and Leia and Luke at the end and R2D2 and C3PO. She enjoyed seeing them. But and she liked Rey a little bit somewhat and liked Finn somewhat, but didn't like Kylo Ren, didn't like him being the main, antagonist of the film. And so far on their channel, they have not watched the other two movies. So they just basically felt that it wasn't up to par, like what we saw with the story of Anakin and all that. It wasn't up to par, and I think that's kind of what the feeling, the consensus is around the sequel trilogy. is that people say, well, maybe the sequel trilogy will get better with age through time. It's not happening. People just don't like those movies.
Yeah, and it's different from those first three in the sense of things came out like Clone Wars and Rebels that kind of connected those two. You don't have anything really connecting these last three movies to anything, right? So you're just pretty much relying on that to be a good story. And it's really not up to par with Star Wars as a whole. It's not. So it's in this weird space of, well, how do we fix it? And the Rey movie, for all intents and purposes, should be the movie that kind of gives you that direction, right? But you've gone through two scripts already. If Disney don't like the script, that's an issue because Disney is normally like happy-go-lucky with it. But if they don't like it, that is a real big issue, man. Especially under the Disney umbrella.
Well, I mean, they're all look. Disney is taking L's left and right. They've taken L's with the Marvels. They've taken L's with the Echo show. So just a lot of people just are not feeling their stuff.
Yeah,
A
they
lot of
did take
a lot
L
of
with that one.
Native Americans have an issue with Echo.
Really?
So yes, it's getting a lot of backlash right now on that. Yeah, it's big
I
time.
wonder why.
So a lot of people didn't like it. A lot of people don't like that show. And so here's the thing. So last week I was talking about here on No Gimmicks. If you haven't listened to that episode yet, you probably should check it out in the archive. It's very, very good. So I made some comments last week, and I stick by my comments about Rey and just how she's not a very popular character. I'm here tonight to defend Rey, and I'm going to tell you, in my opinion, where they should go with this story from a certain point of view.
All right, let's
So,
book it.
So I think the main problem that's with the Rey character is that the Rey character had no direction. They didn't know what Rey was going to be. They didn't know if she was going to be a Kenobi. They didn't know if she's going to be a Palpatine. They didn't know if she's going to be a Skywalker. So she has no real clear direction of what her character is. So here's where we fix that. This is my idea. The way we fix Rey is I'm intrigued with the story of Rey somewhat being pregnant. But Rey should have already had the child. She should have had the child. Somehow it happens. Look, Anakin's mother had him. There was no father. Okay, the Force created Anakin. That Darth Plagueis, wanted to create the ultimate Sith being. The Force answered him back, and you got Anakin, the chosen one. Okay.
Right.
This new child, we're not trying to replace Anakin Skywalker or the original. You cannot replace
You
those.
can't.
You can't.
Exactly.
No, we can't do that. But what we're trying to do is we're trying to expand it a little bit. We can take certain elements of the story, but put new, a fresh color paint on it, pretty much. So, my idea. So, Rey Skywalker, quote unquote, already has this child. Rey has two children. She has a boy and she has a girl.
Okay.
And basically, both children are gifted. They both have special force, special force abilities in them. Why?
Okay.
Because you have two bloodlines in them: the Palpatine bloodline and the Skywalker bloodline.
Okay.
So at this point, one of these children, obviously, one of these children are going to go to the dark side and be a Sith. The other one is going to be the light side. While the mother is trying to build the Jedi Order.
Okay.
This new, whatever happens, one of the children is going to turn to the dark side in this film, and Rey is going to turn with them. She is going to embrace the dark side. She is going to realize that she is not a Skywalker. She is a Palpatine at the end of the day. And we are going to see Empress Rey Palpatine with her son as her apprentice versus her daughter, who is now trying to rebuild the Jedi Order. Her daughter is basically the new chosen one that's going to try to rebuild the Jedi Order and basically bring balance to the Force somewhat. Versus her mother, who is now turned to the dark side finally, accepted that she is turned to the dark side. Kylo Ren will appear to the daughter as the Force goes. He's been basically redeemed. He's not Kylo Ren anymore. He has been Solo. And he's going to try to guide his daughter down the right path. But Rey has a lot of hatred, and her hatred is finally going to come out about the way she feels about him and how everything went down. And basically, she'll see visions of Palpatine in her head, and finally he'll say, accept who you are and turn to the dark side of the Force, something like that. And that's where we'll be. We can start a whole new trilogy, basically based off of Rey Palpatine, Empress Palpatine.
We need something strong to push her over the edge, though.
The strong thing that's going to push her over the edge is that she can't handle it, even though she's trying to do good. It's always the dark side that's in her.
She's always meant to be.
She's always meant to be. So Rey, Empress Rey, and the son, who is now the apprentice, will now face her daughter, and who also has her master, who is Finn. And who knows Rey more than Finn? And that's the whole point. Like, Rey, what are you doing? We were part of the resistance. She's not part of the resistance. Her main goal now is to rebuild not the Jedi Order, but to rebuild the Empire.
Okay. I follow that. I fucks with it.
Yeah. That's the only way to redeem this character, because she is not a Skywalker. And Dark Side Rey,
fucks with that. I like
Dark Side Rey is the way to go. So that's what
it's a lot of intrigue there.
Yeah, that's what I would do. But I'm just trying to figure out like what it would be that would push her to the dark side. But you don't have to push her too far, because she was already there.
She just
remember she had a vision of herself as in the dark side.
Yeah.
So that's the way. That's what I would do.
Luke got scared of it. Luke was like, "Nah, you tripping."
Right.
All right, I like it.
We can possibly see, like I said, we can possibly see, some way Force Ghost, Anakin try to talk to the daughter, not Rey, because Rey's not his lineage. But the children have Palpatine and Skywalker blood in it, because Ben Solo was the son of, Han Solo and Leia Organa. Leia she's a Skywalker.
Right.
So the children have pretty much strong blood in them. But the son's going to be
Skywalker and the Palpatine. All right. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
So the son is pretty much on the dark side. Convinces his mother, you're going to be the next emperor one day. I'm the empress, but you're going to be my apprentice, and you're going to learn the true ways of the dark side, like my grandfather wanted me to learn, and I've accepted that. But the daughter will not follow in the footsteps. She won't follow that footstep. She will not go down the dark path as her mother and her brother.
So who would be stronger, the girl or the boy?
It's kind of like it's balanced, because you got to train that. So it's kind of like equal right now. But as the trilogy moves forward, the girl would get stronger, the boy would get stronger, because eventually what will happen is you're going to kill Rey eventually, and he will take over as the emperor. How? Because he's going to kill his mother. Same way Palpatine killed Plagueis. Okay. Then you'll have the final duel between the brother and the sister. Who's going to rule the galaxy? We're both on the same footing. You're the light side of the Force. I'm the dark side of the Force. But we both have the same blood running through us. So either you submit to me and join the dark side, or die. That's what I would do.
I like that story. That's That's interesting. The only thing I would change is I would initially make the girl a little bit stronger.
You can't.
Here's
Because they
why I would
both
do that. Here's why I
they're
would do that.
they're pretty much twins.
I know, but here's why
Yeah.
I would do that.
Okay.
Because it creates the conflict, right? She wants them both to be equal of power. They won't be. That's the struggle. The girl is a little bit stronger, but her affinity is to the boy. That's what pushes her to the dark side. And that's what takes him with her.
Because the boy reminds her of Kylo.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah. And the girl, she can see that the girl here is, she reminds, you remind me too much of me and when I was weak.
Right.
So,
right.
So she doesn't really care for her daughter too much. She's just her son. That's what she cares about. So they'll rule the galaxy that way. Finn comes back, like I said, he's going to be the one to show the daughter, the ways of what he knows.
Yeah, I like that. It's a fire story, man. How the hell did you come up with that?
Well, literally, bro, I was just like, I was at work and I was thinking like, how can this be saved? How can Rey be somewhat redeemed? And we need some new blood into the dark side of the Sith. And I'm like, well, Rey technically is a Palpatine. They can try to make her a Skywalker all they want to. She's a Palpatine. So she needs to embrace that she's a Palpatine. That's what it was. So that's how I came up with the story.
I like that. I like it a lot. I like that a lot.
Yeah, so we have nothing but creativity over here on the.
Yeah, that was a good brainstorming session.
Right.
That was good. That was good. Yeah. I'd actually be, and then that's how you can't really fix those last 3 movies, but I mean it does have a little bit of impact towards it.
Yeah.
You can show a little bit of impact towards it.
Yeah, because the whole thing of Kylo how being a Force ghost getting her pregnant, I don't like that idea, but I do like that the children were created with the Force, and but the father is Kylo Ren. He is the father, Ben Solo. So even though Kylo, once again, kind of like Anakin, even though Kylo was redeemed at the end of the Rise of Skywalker, still the children, like the lineage goes all the way back to Anakin.
Yep.
So, and the fact that Rey is a Palpatine. Yep. The fact that Rey is a Palpatine, you got a lot of stuff to go there with. It's just, it doesn't have to be that convoluted. It doesn't have to be that way.
Yeah. It's simple and it's effective.
Right.
I like it.
And so now you say, well, what can they do to redeem the legacy characters? Well, those characters can actually be redeemed with the Mandalorian Grogu film in the Dave Filoni film.
I was just thinking that.
Because like they're not, and I've heard rumors that Bob Iger and Kathleen Kennedy they're not fans of Leia, Luke, and Han for some reason, but that is Star Wars. Yeah, they're not fans of those characters. That's why they pushed Rey, and that's why the fans don't like the characters, that they tried to make her the new Luke Skywalker and push Luke Skywalker out the way. And it screwed everything up.
How could you not like them like that?
I don't know.
That's the whole story, bro.
These are the people. Yeah, but these are the people that are running this shit into the ground. So you have creators out there. You have people like myself that with creative minds. People like Star Wars Theory. Lots of different fan films. I saw a video the other day, dude, and this was done, I think, maybe may have been 8 years ago. Don't quote me on that. There was a fan film of Obi-Wan Kenobi, and they stole heavily. Disney stole heavily from this guy's fan film, like big time. I'm gonna send it to you. It was one of the best fan films I've ever seen. And then I saw another fan film recently called Journey to the Dark Side. And it was pretty much Kylo Ren having conflict, and he gets confronted by Vader, his grandfather. And Vader basically is telling him how weak he is and how, he's disappointing him. And the guy playing him says, he's calling him, he's like, hey, Vader, Anakin. So then Vader turns around when he calls him Anakin. And then Vader goes and tries to kill him. Then the guy wakes up, and it's very cool. And the guy said he created this fan film in his garage. It was done in his garage.
That's dope.
Have you ever seen the Darth Maul fan film that's on YouTube?
I've seen a little bit of it. I haven't finished it, though.
Bruh, it is like, I'm going to sing you some shit. Listen, you have fans out there, that are creating better content than the big billion-dollar corporation.
Mm-hmm. But that's how it is, though.
Content.
Like some of these guys, like really, like we have a guy within the DFPN ranks that just like religiously knows this shit, right? And like can tell you, he can give you theory, he can make up a story about it. Like there's people like that all over the place, man.
Right. And they care and are passionate about the product. And that's the difference between the fans. So there's the fans, then you have the super fans like myself that actually care about Star Wars, that actually care about the characters and care about the brand.
Right.
And we're the ones who are creative. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, the first Star Wars movie I ever saw in the theaters was The Force Awakens. And I liked The Force Awakens. But Finn should have been one of the main characters. And it's like Finn halfway through the movie, it went from Finn to now it's about Rey and it's about Poe. And I'm like, no.
Well, a lot of that too, and I think Disney actually listened to the backlash during that time, because a lot of that backlash was you have a black guy and then you have a woman as the leads. And I think they actually listened to a lot of that shit. But
was that really real, or was that just manufactured bullshit?
No, that was real. You
sure?
Yeah, that was real.
Because here's why I question this. Because we see so much of that now when any kind of project that they do fails, it's all of a sudden it's racism.
Now I'm leaning no. But then it was definitely real. Less so now.
And I've always said, you cannot be that way when the literal voice of Darth Vader is a black man, James Earl Jones.
Exactly.
I've never understood that. I don't understand the racism period in anything, to be honest. I don't know. Let me tell you something. I have seen so many people of different races and genders that play different characters. I've seen a black Anakin Skywalker. I've seen an Asian Anakin Skywalker. I've seen a Mexican Anakin Skywalker. I've seen a Hispanic Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah, Star Wars is for everybody, bro.
I have seen female and stop with the narrative that of this bullshit. My God, I have seen female versions of Darth Vader.
Yeah,
they are into it just like we have cosplayers that are female that are playing Darth Vader, that are playing Anakin Skywalker, that dress up as Revan, that dress up as Bane, Malgus, Nihilus, all of these different characters. So and don't tell me that just it's Star Wars is a brand that brings everybody together. Different races, creeds, and colors, different genders. It doesn't matter. It's the Star Wars brand and Star Wars universe is very inclusive. That's pretty much what it is. It's not about this bullshit narrative that they try to put out there. There are lots of females, lots of women that love Star Wars, that love the original 6 movies, that don't really care for the new movies, the sequels. They like the originals.
The new movies, and it's nothing wrong with saying it, bro, because somebody has to say it to them. The new movies sucked. They did.
Yeah. Yeah.
They did.
Yeah.
Like, you could change my mind on the first three because at the time I didn't think not the first three, the first sequels, I didn't think they were that great.
Right.
And then they changed my mind over time. These, it's been a few years now. Like, these movies aren't good. There's no way around it. They are not good.
No,
So you
they're
have
not.
to accept that truth. Like,
Accept it.
there's no agenda behind it. These movies aren't good.
If I don't like the movie, it's not to do anything with it being sexist or anything like that. I just literally just on this show, I just literally said how to redeem Rey and make her cool and make her into a Sith. I just literally took one of the characters that's not very popular in the Star Wars mythos and just showed you the way to redeem her. Now, if it was that way, if it was just this misogynistic bullshit that doesn't exist, if that's what it was, would I take the time out to try to figure out a way in order to redeem this character, in order to get the people to stop hating so much on Daisy Ridley? Would I be doing that if that were the case? No. My thing was, I don't like the director coming out with this activist bullshit and coming out instead of saying that we're going to create a great Star Wars story here and we're going to bring all the fans together. Your whole thing is, and I don't give a damn when she said it, but this is the person that is doing the movie. Well, I want to make men feel uncomfortable. Bro, if I said I want to make women feel uncomfortable, they'll look at me like I'm a fucking pervert. Bottom line. It's a double standard.
That's true. That's true.
You know what I'm saying? So that's my whole point. It's like do a movie that's going to have a rich story that's going to benefit the fandom, that's going to bring everybody together and not keep dividing us. We have so much division in this world, whether it be politics, whether it be whatever. There's so much divisiveness in this world, and I'm just sick and tired of it. You want to have something that you truly love and care about, like Star Wars, you got to figure out a way to bring it together. And one of the things that I've noticed with just what I see is a lot of people like to cosplay. That's what I'm into. I'm into cosplay. I just had the wife the other day dress up as a Jedi. She got finally converted to the Jedi, the Jedi ways. So it is what it is, bro. Like, this whole narrative that is strictly a male brand. Yeah, your majority fan base for Star Wars is male. It's correct. I mean, and there's nothing wrong with me saying that, because what do you want me to say? Oh, well, Barbie's a male, a female brand. Why doesn't it go for men? Because it's fucking Barbie. You know what I'm saying? It's Barbie. Why would that be a male brand? That's Barbie. So Star Wars is pretty much it's a male dominated brand. Yes, there's a big fandom of females out there that watch it, but it's a male oriented dominated brand. It always has been and always will be. No matter how they try to change it. I'm sorry. The Force is not female. The Force is not male. The Force is the Force. And people don't understand that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Don't understand that. So it's people like Kathleen Kennedy and people at Disney that's, want to push these agendas. And what they're doing is that you're just pushing people away, man. People don't want to support your projects. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter if it's the Marvels. It doesn't matter if it's Echo. It doesn't matter if it's Ahsoka or Obi-Wan or wherever the situation is. It's always, when you try to push agendas and you try to do stuff like, okay, people say, what was the biggest problem with Obi-Wan Kenobi show? It was Reva. You took a character that had no ties to anything, okay, and you put that character as the main focus. Reva would have been fine if Reva had been a side character, but she was one of the main antagonists of the story. And people weren't watching for that. People were watching to have the return of Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen reprising their roles as Anakin Skywalker, Darth Vader, and Obi-Wan Kenobi. That's why people were watching that show. And they gave Moses Ingram a raw deal, pretty much. Had her come in and people didn't like it. Now, fast forward now where we're at, people actually like Reva. Reva has become a character that people like in the fandom. They actually like to cosplay as Reva. That's what happens. People are not cosplaying, unfortunately, as Rey. Okay, the only one people are cosplaying at from the sequel trilogy is Kylo Ren.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, so it is what it is. I mean, I know there's a lot of. And I'm not saying that Rey didn't have an impact on the little girls out there. yeah, lots of little girls, probably liked Ray, and lots of little girls like Leia Organa as well. You know what I'm saying? That's just the
Yep.
way it goes, man. You know, it's like I'm a male, but I didn't really particularly care for the character of Poe. I thought Poe took too much away from Finn. That just is what it is.
I agree with that. I agree with
You
that.
know, so
Plus,
that's
Poe
my
he didn't really have a story.
no. He
Finn had
disappeared out
more
of
of the
nowhere.
story. Yeah,
Fan,
he had.
Fan was a stormtrooper that and then you kind of towards the end of the trilogy, you kind of get the sense that he had maybe some force abilities with him as
Right.
well.
Right.
So I mean, I don't know.
We missed the opportunity there.
Yeah, they missed the opportunity, and also missed the opportunity for Finn to say, okay, well, who's Finn's father? Well, shit, it was Lando. They missed opportunities.
Yeah,
they missed a lot of opportunity with a lot of stuff.
they did. They did. So, yeah, heavy missed opportunities with those movies. But
it's heavy missed opportunities with anything they do. Nothing they do is clicking right now, and it's like, dude. So they just have. This is why last year Universal tops Disney. Period. With stuff. They kick their ass in everything because Universal doesn't have an agenda. Universal is just making movies and they're putting out content. They don't have an agenda behind anything. Disney has its agenda, and as long as they have an agenda, it's like people say, "Well, we need to wipe George Lucas off the IP and off the map pretty much over here." The man's name is literally in the studio, Lucasfilm. You know what I'm saying? So you are never going to do that. George Lucas created the best characters along with his wife, created the best characters ever in cinema. Darth Vader, Luke Skywalker, Princess Leia, Han Solo, Chewbacca. People know these characters. They know them just like they know Hulk Hogan.
this is fact.
You know what I'm saying?
That's a fact. Global.
They're global. Everybody knows who
global.
these characters are. But you say, hey, who's Poe? Oh, Poe? What's a Poe?
Poe Pimpin.
Right.
Oh, that's some shit, man. Right. But no, that makes sense.
But people, and people know my man Yoda back here. You know what I'm saying? People know the Emperor. So yeah, man.
Hey,
because
of Yoda, we know Baby Yoda.
Right.
People love Baby Yoda, which is why he's getting the movie.
But let me tell you something about that. I think that the luster has kind of worn off a little bit with Grogu.
You think so? He's still selling like hotcakes, bro? For real.
But not he ain't selling as much as Anakin Skywalker. I know this.
No.
I collect the figures. I collect the figures, and his shit is not in demand. I'm gonna tell you right now what's in demand. What's in demand is Anakin Skywalker, the Blak series from Revenge of the Sith. That figure is what everybody's looking for. It goes over $100. All right.
Yeah.
They listen. Grogu or Yoda? I'm going with Yoda.
It's Yoda, but I'm saying of the new school, of the new shit.
I think they ruined him.
They did, but of the new stuff, he's arguably number one of the new era.
I think he's probably.
I think he's one. Kylo Ren is two.
I would say he's one, and the Mandalorian is number two.
Well, yeah,
Din Djarin.
You're right.
Din Djarin.
Yeah, you're right. I would say followed by
Ahsoka Tano.
Really?
Ahsoka Tano is very popular.
She is.
People used to hate her character too. People used to hate Ahsoka Tano. But
I don't know why that one I didn't get. That one I did not.
She was annoying. If you watch early episodes of the Clone Wars, she was annoying. She was a very annoying character. But once they took a more serious tone with her, when she wasn't so much more of an annoyance, and she actually, really started to get serious about stuff. When we really took serious that she was the apprentice of Anakin Skywalker, That's when people started liking the character, and that's why people like the character now. But
Yep.
originally, people did not like Ahsoka Tano. No.
Yeah.
But yes, Grogu sells merch. He does. And that's what Disney is looking at, why they're going with the Mandalorian Grogu movie, because Grogu sells merchandise.
It's a money grab.
But it's a money grab. But I also feel like I said, I think that Grogu has pretty much, I think he's kind of ran his course at this point. I mean, it's cool. You can only do so much with that character without having any development of that character. Yoda had development.
He has to develop. He has to.
You saw Yoda in the original trilogy, and then they pushed more on Yoda's story during the prequel trilogy.
Right. Which is why I think season 3 of The Mandalorian was so hurt, because you had all sorts of theories about Grogu and where he came from in those first 2 seasons, and then you get no answers really. So season 3 is just like, I guess, because I think my main thing I wanted to know from Grogu is, did he survive Order 66? And I never got an answer for that.
He did.
Because remember, Luke took him.
No, he survived Order 66. They showed that how he survived.
Did they?
Yeah.
I don't remember that shit.
Yeah.
Now I got to go back and watch it.
Yeah. So he was what the fuck was the guy's name? Yeah. Okay. So I forgot the Jedi's name, but I will say who it is. It's the actor who played Jar Jar Binks. He came back, and they had a role for him in The Mandalorian, and it shows the Order 66. I think his name was Kelleran or something like that. I forgot the name, but he is the one who saved Grogu. Okay. He was at the Jedi Temple. He saved Grogu. He was taking out some of the clone troopers, and he was able to save Grogu and take him away pretty much. So that's how Grogu survived. I believe they showed this in Mandalorian season 3.
All right, I'll go back and watch it, because I definitely don't remember that shit, and that was one of my biggest questions. Like, did he? I don't remember that at all.
Yeah,
I gotta go back and watch it.
Yeah, I'll find it and see if they have a clip on YouTube, and I'll send it to you. But that's pretty essentially that's essentially what happened. He was saved by him. But it's also because the fandom didn't like Jar Jar Binks back in the day. So the character that the actor who portrayed him, this guy was talked about his depression, talked about how he was like suicidal over the role, because it was bad. So he was happy to come back and be able to do something with Star Wars and be redeemed. And now it's like, okay, listen, dude, we're gonna wipe this slate clean from this whole thing here, and we're gonna make you an important character. We're gonna make you a Jedi that saved Grogu. So he was all for it.
I like it, because I always thought he was a Sith.
that was the rumor. Yeah, that was the rumor.
That motherfucker's a Sith. Yeah, and that theory was why I was like, makes all the sense in the world, because he was just extremely lucky, bro. It was like, what if he wasn't extremely lucky? What if he was just like a high-level Force user that everybody thought was awkward? I was like, I like that.
Right.
I like that a lot. But yeah. So let's move on, man. Let's go to the wrestling realm. So this past weekend, we had a rebirth of a company. TNA returned, and they came back with their Hard to Kill pay-per-view from the Palms in Las Vegas. Very, very high fanfare for this event. I actually ordered the event and watched it. It was definitely buzzworthy. Like, they had a lot of good stuff. I saw a lot of good things that they can expand on. I have been following TNA Impact for a while. And for my opinion, I thought they had some of the best wrestling in the industry. It was good to see them get that buzz. They had a very packed house for this event. The crowd was hot all night. The production was on point. You got some surprises. You got great wrestling. You got stories being told, and you got me an excuse to want to watch more of it.
Right.
My question is, where would this put them if they get a TV deal in terms of companies?
That's going to put them as number 3.
You think so?
Yeah. They're not going to be number 2. That, unfortunately, by default, that's going to be AEW because AEW has a strong TV deal. They have a very good roster in AEW. So you can't come out. It's like people used to hear this stupid argument back in the day when WCW was doing real bad. But people used to come up and say, "Oh, well, what is it? What are people going to just say that ECW is number 2? How could you possibly ever say something that's stupid?" Doesn't matter how bad WCW was doing. Guess what? WCW was still doing pretty good ratings for Turner. Even at the end, they were still doing good ratings for Turner. They still had people buying their pay-per-views. There is no way in hell ever did ECW ever surpass WCW. It never happened. So you can never say, well, when are we going to just put ECW past W? No. Are you out of your damn mind? That never would happen. All right. So that's kind of what we're at right now with this situation, where is TNA going to surpass AEW? I don't know. It's hard to say, but right now, if they were to get a better TV deal, they'll be number 3. That's pretty much what they're.
I agree with that.
And,
the only thing that's
go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say the only thing that is going on right now that's a positive in their favor is the fact that they do have this partnership with Endeavor, which leads me to believe that they have a partnership with WWE. That's what I've been alluding to the past couple of days.
Yep.
They have this partnership.
If you watch that pay-per-view, and which I said, the production before this pay-per-view and the production during this pay-per-view, night and day. It's a very big upgrade. Very big. It was crispy. It was on point. It flowed kind of like a WWE show. Almost, if I had to compare it to anything, I'd compare it to an NXT show, is what it looked like to me. Just how it flowed, how it was presented, how it moved on. It reminded me of an NXT show in a very good way. I was engaged. There were people that I knew. There were even people that I didn't know about, and I wanted to know more of coming out of this show. So it was very interesting, man. And there were rumors that Triple H was actually at this show. Didn't show him. Those are unconfirmed at this point, but he was rumored to be at the show. Confirmed that was at this show was Mercedes Moné and Bailey from WWE. They were both at that show.
Well, I'm not surprised with that. They were there just to support Trinity. So
yeah,
but then they picked up the Big Cool when they got Nick Nemeth to
join. That is a very
roster.
good signing. Very good signing.
Yeah, they're just, dude, they have the potential here to do some big business, and I'm glad that they are back to being TNA, the name that brought them prominence. And if they have a relationship here with Endeavor, and Endeavor can help them, and WWE can help them, we could possibly see some TNA guys in the Royal Rumble. There's a possibility that could happen. They could possibly even use, Naomi, Trinity, put her in the Royal Rumble as well. You can have a talent exchange situation there. This really kind of shows me here, if this is what's going down, it kind of shows me where WWE is in their mindset and their thinking. That
they're open for business.
Open for business, open to working with different companies. Because Vince was never willing to do that.
Right. They were rumored to be talking with All Japan too. And I do like what Impact is doing, because Impact also, they announced a partnership with AAA during that show.
Correct.
Which they're bringing in the Luchadors. The show after that, so they had another show the night after, and on that show, Okada was there. So there seems to be a partnership with New Japan on their end. So I do like where that is, and if they are working with WWE as well, then that's awesome. That's best for the industry, really, because
and
the doors of WWE never really opened like that.
Right. It's basically it's legitimately the real forbidden door. People can say the
Right.
forbidden door they want to. AW can trademark it and put it on DVDs and pay-per-views and all kind of branding. The real forbidden door is any company that WWE works with.
Yep.
Because if they let you into that bubble of that they've had, where nothing exists outside of them, and Triple H says, "Wait a minute, this guy here, TNA, we can do something here. We can work with these other companies. We can work with Scott D'Amore, and we can do some business here. It benefits all of us. We can work with them because we got this whatever is going on down here at AEW, which there's no positives right now about AEW. It's all TNA over right now. It's the buzz right now is for TNA. The only thing happening right now on the AEW front, and like I said, this is not a badge AEW. This is the No Gimmicks podcast. This is the podcast where we keep it 100 at all times, and I'm just keeping it 100. They have become the joke of the industry. Honestly, that's and the person behind this is the guy who's tweeting people and arguing with people for no reason. That's what this is. You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
That's what it is.
That's
okay,
true.
and I don't have a problem with Tony Khan. I don't know Tony Khan personally. It doesn't matter to me. I'm more into the Star Wars anyways at this point, but I'm just putting this like this. You never saw Vince McMahon publicly come out and go after people. He didn't do that. He never had to do that. Okay? To call Eric Bischoff a miserable has-man or some shit, whatever he said. Bischoff actually did something, and it doesn't matter if it happened 20 so years ago or whenever it was. Bischoff actually did something that nobody else was able to do. He actually beat Vince McMahon. He beat the 800-pound gorilla. He beat him and spanked his ass to the point where they couldn't even afford water at the WWE headquarters. That's how bad it was. Okay? They were basically... You are never going to get to that level, dude. It's never going to happen. You have nothing that's going to revolutionize this industry. Bischoff, people say, "Oh, Bischoff only was he only had one idea and blah blah blah." Okay,
but that worked.
That one idea worked.
It worked.
The other idea was
it worked.
That other idea worked. The other idea was Nitro. That whole thing coming up, Ted Turner gave the time slot. They developed Monday Nitro, but it was Eric Bischoff who was leading the war against the WWF. This was all Eric Bischoff. So whether you like him or not, you give the guy his flowers because he did something that you are never going to be able to do. He actually beat Vince McMahon at Vince McMahon's own game. So it doesn't matter. You come out there and say whatever you want to those 800,000 people that watch your show. Doesn't matter. Okay? He actually did what he did and beat Vince. Period. Nobody could ever say differently. You can have an opinion. You don't like Eric Bischoff, that's fine. It's just like people don't want to give Vince Russo credit. When Vince Russo was writing for the WWF, guess what? It was the most entertaining, and the ratings were sky high.
You got to give him his flowers too. Vince Russo actually boomed two companies, bro.
He did. He boomed WWF, and then he tried to do something with WCW, and then TNA. TNA was getting as high as viewership numbers when Russo was down there doing creative, and that's you can't deny that.
You can't deny it. What he did for the Knockouts division still holds true today. It still has effects. So you got to get that man his flowers.
Well, I don't really know. I don't think Russo was behind the Knockouts. That wasn't. He wasn't behind that. He was doing everything. So no, he was. From all intents and purposes, from people that have worked for there, he wasn't working with the Knockouts. That wasn't. No. If anything, they said that Russo didn't care for the numbers the Knockouts were doing, so he would try to sabotage it. Is what I've heard. I don't know that to be true.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know that. I don't know that to be true. I don't know, but He was a part of other things. The knockouts wasn't one of them.
Okay.
So, but I give Russo his flowers anyways for what he did during the Attitude Era, because when Russo when he left there, I mean, people say, well, they were still doing good after Russo left. Or yeah, because Russo had already wrote the TV. He told him, "It's like, you guys are good for a year."
Yeah,
because he already had wrote the angles and shit. So he's like, he said, "You guys are good for a year." He says, "I'm leaving, but you guys are good." So you basically went off of the scripts that Russo and Ferrara had already wrote.
Win-win for them.
Right.
So yeah, give him his flowers.
Yeah,
all the way.
Absolutely. Hey man, Eric, and Tony Khan. My advice to you is to stop tweeting, stop worrying about cage match. Listen,
he's not gonna do that, man.
When W, I put it like this: back during the Monday Night War, there was no cage match. There wasn't any of this shit. The business was pretty much gauged on the house shows. It's how Vince McMahon always gauged how the project was doing, and that's what it was. It was the house shows and the TV ratings and all that shit, and what's over and what's who saw merchandise. Not any of this shit that's going on right now. No, listen. Only hardcore fanatics go to cage match, do the cage match rating. No one gives a shit about that. And it's very.
Like, I didn't even know that was a thing.
I didn't know it was a thing either. And it's like, that's why it's a joke. You're like, you think WWE is using cage match? Come on, man.
Yeah, but there was something on the front with cage match, because they came out with a statement earlier today, and pretty much it was pretty much like, don't involve cage matching in your bullshit, pretty much. Like
the con.
Well, they were telling it to pretty much everybody, because they were like, this community was doing just fine until divisiveness came in it.
That
now
shows
everything. Yep.
I was gonna say, that kind of shows you just the mentality of Khan, because you're supposed to be the executive of this company, but you're going to bullshit like this instead of having creative meetings with people about where it's gonna go. You're booking this shit like, it's like, honestly, bro, it's like back in the day when I would play SmackDown versus Raw and I would do general manager mode, and I'm the GM and I'm coming with different matches and booking it. That's pretty much exactly what Tony Khan's doing. That's what it is.
Oh shit.
Like, where do we go this week? Oh, well, we'll do, let's see, this week on AEW Dynamite. Okay, my first match, 6-man tag. And then what's the next match? Okay. Interview segment. Yeah, interview segment. Tag match. Let's do a backstage. Let's do something in the backstage in the parking lot. Another promo.
Towards the end of the show, give me the women.
Put a women's tag match out there. That'll hook people. Yeah, let's do that. Oh yeah, wait, hey, yeah. 8-man tag in the main event. There you go.
That's wild, because it's true. Because that's how it's booked.
And I don't even watch the show.
Well, now it's not. What the one thing that they've done that I like that they've done is they introduced that classic, the Continental Classic, and they built stories off of it. That I'm cool with, right? So give me more of that. They've kind of gotten away from what they used to do, and they're starting to feature the women's titles more on the shows too, both of them. So I was like, okay, a little bit of progress here. Just give me. I don't want you to rely on the tournament like that's a good thing, Give me more stories. Well, and it seems like they're trying to do that.
Right.
So can't really say that it's business as usual with them. But again, the show that's the best for me and my viewing from AEW is Ring of Honor. Ring of Honor is just fun. I don't know what it is about that show. And it's probably because they don't have the constraints of time like they do on Dynamite and Collision. But that show is head and shoulders above everything else that they're doing right now. And that's crazy. That's absolutely crazy.
And nobody's watching it.
Well, yeah, it's behind a paywall.
Yeah, and that's the problem.
Yep. But it's arguably the best product that they have.
And nobody's
Arguably.
watching.
Yep. And that in a nutshell is like, there it is.
Yep.
There it is.
But
you got to figure out what you're doing with this show. That's because it's a very entertaining show. What are you doing with this show that you can apply to everything else?
Because what it comes down to with the two main shows for AEW is that they don't know what they want it to be. Like when I used to watch AEW Dynamite religiously, I used to get the vibe of it trying to be like Nitro. And then one week it was trying to be like Monday Night Raw. And then the next week it would be Nitro again. And then one week it would be Thunder. They don't know what they want that show to be. Yeah. They don't have an identity for that show.
It's variety. It's way too much variety.
And not in a good way.
Yeah.
You know? Sometimes it's good to have variety. WCW Monday Nitro was its own thing. It wasn't trying to be Raw. It wasn't trying to do that. It was its own thing. It had its own identity. And ECW had its own identity. The WWF had its own identity of it being sports entertainment. Okay?
Right.
AEW still, even now, 5 years later, AEW still doesn't have its identity. Doesn't know what it wants to be. And that's where it's messed up. They don't know what they are. TNA knows what they are. TNA gets it. They know.
They do.
So they got a good idea of what they are. And yeah. That's pretty much kind of where we're at right now. So I'm going to be very interested. I'm actually going to subscribe actually probably tonight to the TNA Plus streaming service, because I was a member before when it was Impact Plus. And I used to go in there all the time and watch all the old Wednesday night shows. I used to binge watch them. The old Wednesday night pay-per-views that used to be on for $9.99. And I loved going back to those days when the roster was stacked, TNA, with AJ Styles and Jerry Lynn, you know, and Christopher Daniels and Ewing Skipper, you know, America's Most Wanted. Shit, man. They even had me being a fan of Mike Sanders from WCW when he was in Sports Entertainment Extreme.
Yep.
So, you know, people like, I was a fan of people like David Young and all these different cats. Sonny Siaki, another one that has so much, you know, potential that it never took off for him, whatever, you know. So I listen, man, I know my TNA history, bro. I was watching way back when it was the Wednesday night shows, those pay-per-views for $9.99, and then followed them to when they went to Universal in the very first episode of Impact that was on Fox Sports. I think it was Fox Sports Net or some shit back in the day. 3 p.m. on the West Coast, you know. It was that 1 hour show, and I'm like, this is crazy, kind of crazy shit. So it was. I miss those days, man. I wish TNA all the success in the world. I'm glad that they went back, and I have said this many times on No Gimmicks. You can listen to it in the archives right now. You go on to Patreon right now and subscribe for $3 a month. You can go back and listen to previous editions of No Gimmicks where I have came on this show and stated they need to go back to being TNA. They need to do that. And they finally did it. And listen, I'm not saying they listen to the show. They probably don't. AEW probably does listen to the show. Disney doesn't listen to the show, but you should.
You should. Okay? Definitely should.
You should be listening. People should be listening.
Yep, definitely should. But yeah, man, if you end up getting TNA Plus, the Hard to Kill pay-per-view is on TNA Plus now. So check it out, man.
Yeah.
Definitely check it out. So it's definitely it's one of those. It's a historic pay per view in sense of what it brought to the table. I love the way it started out because you had Eric Young open the show, and Eric Young is a TNA original. So having him open up the show and bringing in just kind of set the tone for the whole night. And yeah, that's it. That's it's a pay per view that I'll probably watch again. And I don't say that a lot of pay per views.
Now, in saying this, AEW might potentially get my money. They may get my money on Revolution.
Oh yeah.
They may get my money because I want to see Sting's last match. I'm a big Stinger fan. I've been following Sting since my God when I saw him back in 1990 for the first time. Okay, so I've followed this man's career. I've seen it all that he's done. I felt he got a raw deal in WWE, and hopefully now he can go off into the sunset and have a career. But hopefully, I'm hoping that WWE can sign Steve Borden to a Legends deal so we can get Sting into WWE video games again.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. That'd be awesome.
We need Sting. Sting.
Yeah.
Sting. They have a WCW video library. Sting is a big part of that, and I think Sting is a businessman. And Jake Roberts, my man Jake out there, he signed. I believe he signed to a Legends deal. Jake's in the game every year. You know? So he's got merchandise with WWE, and I'm like I said before, I've come on here. I'm a big proponent, a big fan of Jake Roberts and his turnaround. The guy looks good. He's out there. I saw him the other day. He's out there.
He's throwing punches.
Punches. Getting pops from the fans and shit. That's awesome. So I will say for Tony Khan to take a big chance on Jake Roberts and have him back there. That's cool. And Tony Khan, listening to the podcast, if you are, you need to re-sign Jim Ross. And that's what I'm
saying. Absolutely. But yeah, I'm like you, man. I do want to see Sting's last match. I want to look at him go out the right way too. I saw Sting in 1989, and the first time I saw him, I told the story before, but not on this podcast. But I've told the story before. The first match that I remember seeing was live. The first match I saw live that I remember seeing was Sting versus the Great Muta.
Yeah.
And I saw that match live. And I think that's the match. It's one of the matches that it's ingrained in my core memory because I remember everything about that day. Like my uncle took us to the Rapides Parish Coliseum in Louisiana. It was the only place where we can go to see like the big wrestling shows, right? And WCW, they had just turned into WCW because it was Jim Crockett. That I do remember. They came into town, and the match that night that my uncle really wanted to see was Ric Flair versus Terry Funk. And they had a Texas Death match that night.
I bet you that was the shit, man.
Fire, bro.
Yeah.
Fire. Right. And like the first match, there was a couple matches. I know Ron Simmons was there. I don't remember him like the whole match. I know he was there. Then there was another match. I can't remember what that match was. And then Sting and Great Muta came out.
Yeah.
And that, I remember everything about that shit. And I remember I was like, I like that guy. And then you could just run up to the rails and shit. They let the kids run up to the rails and you just run up and he was slapping everybody's hands. I just remember everything about that shit. So
yeah,
I was a fan of his since then. And to see him go out, like I'm fucking 40 years old and this man is getting ready to retire. That's crazy to me. So I definitely want to see that.
Yeah, I saw Sting when I was basically, and how I discovered WCW to begin with. I was literally flipping through the channel, and by the way, when I mean flipping, people, we didn't have remote control.
Yep.
I was turning the knob on the TV. Okay.
Yep.
Flipping through, and then I found WCW Worldwide Wrestling. It was on KCAL Channel 9 out of Los Angeles.
Yep.
That's when I was like, what is this? So that's when I saw Lex Luger for the first time. and Ric Flair, and I saw El Gigante. I saw all these different people.
Oh shit!
Yeah, and then I saw this guy with colorful face paint on that reminded me of the other guy, the Ultimate Warrior.
Yep.
And that's how I was like, who is this guy? It was Sting.
Yep.
And then I'm like, oh, this is so that's why I'm like, I became a fan of Sting. And then I actually had the privilege of meeting Sting in 1998. I was one of my people at my high school, went to church, but this is when I lived in Santa Clarita, California. And Sting, Steve Borden actually lived out there, and he was going to a church. This is when he was born again and all that. So I was actually able to meet him. This is when he was in the Wolfpack. So I was actually able to meet him and get his autograph. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So he was real cool guy. And I've been a Sting fan ever since, and followed his career from the early Surfer days to the Crow, up until TNA and Joker and all that different stuff. And I was happy as hell when he came over to WWE, and I was bummed out when he got hurt in that match with Rollins. And then for him to come back and do stuff that he's done with AEW, and to cap it off in Greensboro, where he wrestled Ric Flair for the world title and the Clash of Champions.
Yep.
And to have actually Flair there, and to have Shivani there, and to have Jim Ross there to call this final match, and people were like,
it's gonna be emotional as fuck.
People say, "Oh, well, why would he pick the young?" Yeah, listen, here's the thing: Young Bucks, in my opinion, are the perfect opponents for him. FTR might have been good opponents as well, but the Young Bucks, I think Sting wanted to work with them, and they're going to put on a good match because they're going to go out there and protect Sting. They're going to go out there and make Sting look like $1 million in this final match. Yeah. And let's see him go off into the sunset, man. He's had a hell of a ride, hell of a career. The man has literally done it all, decades-long career, and he's doing some good stuff. And I can't wait to see it. So they'll get my money for that one. AEW Revolution from the Greensboro Coliseum. It's going to be magic.
Yes, it will be. That's why I said it's going to be emotional as fuck. There's going to be tears in that audience. For damn sure.
Yeah.
All right, man. Final thoughts. What you got?
Final thoughts pretty much is once again, if you're not listening to the No Gimmicks podcast or the DFPN on Patreon, people, you need to go and do that. All right. So subscribe to the Patreon. Once again, $3 a month will get you access to the entire Dat Film Podcast network. And you have No Gimmicks. You have the Patio with Kim. You have Real Food. You have the Smoke Pit. You got, Make It Make Sense. You got the Queens of Nerdom. You got the USDN. You're going to possibly have another podcast here for your boys here on No Gimmicks. Now, we're talking right now of doing another podcast, which is going to be specifically related to Star Wars universe. Okay. And we're talking about that. Me and the Black Makk here, Kelvin K. We're talking right now, and we are going to be doing some big things here in 2024. And that's pretty much it, man. You know what I'm saying? Man. You can, help control the pet population, have your pets spayed or neutered. You know what I'm saying? Keep your pets on the inside. It's fucking freezing out here,
man.
And it's been crazy. I was driving the other night and almost fucking fishtailed because it was like this. Going over one of those icy bridges. It's just crazy, but I use the power of the Force and the power of the dark side to steer it, to steer the car in the right direction. And so, that's pretty much what it is, man. So, I'm very happy to be here. So,
yes. Oh, I'm glad you're safe because, that ice ain't no joke, man. That ice is no freaking joke. But final thoughts. Just to make sure you guys are tapped in. We got USDN. They're actually going to be showing up Thursday. Also, the Patio is showing up Thursday. And Smoke Pit Friday. And we're going to cap this week off strong, man. This has been a strong week already. Thank you guys for tuning in. Shout out to my dog, Luna. He probably heard during this show. It was throwing a fucking fit.
Yeah.
She was throwing a fit, a whole fit. Shout out to her. But I got my dogs back, so they're getting reacquainted to the house, and with that comes a bunch of fussing. So shout out to
No, I heard that. But yeah, no, this is fun. We're like I said, 2024 is going to be a great year for DFPN and just what we got planned for you guys out there. So stay tuned, man. We're about to take DFPN and all our podcasts and all this talent here. We're going to take it to the next level this year. So stay tuned.
Please stay
right
tuned.
Here. And stay tuned to the No Gimmicks podcast right here on the DFPN, the only podcast that keeps it 100% all the time.
All the time. And with that, that's the show, man. So till next time, peace.
And I know it's all business, all business, all business. We give them no gimmick. Yeah. And I know it's all business, all business, all business. We give them no gimmick. Yeah. And I know it's all business, all business, all business. We give them no gimmicks.